We are going to talk about payments. Our first topic up here is security, payment security. Which, wow, I think there was a huge thing about Magento end of life and security around that. So, Mark, why don't you dive right in? Tell us a little bit about Cardknox and how that's going to help our e-commerce payment security. I know that we've got some great points here: preventing fraud, preventing customers' data from being intercepted from hackers. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So first of all, Brent, thank you for having me. Madeline, who's behind the scenes, thank you for moderating here on Cardknox as well. We have a bunch of, I like to joke, I have my executive producer in my ear. So we've got a good team behind us as well. So really appreciate you having us on. So just to start, as Madeline mentioned, I'm Mark Haley, VP of Sales at Cardknox. I really like how you said how Brent is a Wagento evangelist, and I think that describes me as well. I really love the promoting the Cardknox brand. People know me; they know me as the Cardknox guy at conferences. So what Cardknox is, we're a leading omni-channel payment gateway. We provide businesses in a wide variety of industries with advanced payment processing technology, securely process payments in store and online, and we try to make it seamless and fun, easy and fun. So just in terms of the partnership and kind of how Brent, the marriage that we have, so in the relationship that we have, so we have a plugin for Magento. Magento is an e-commerce platform, one of the most well-known e-commerce platforms in the industry, and we have our plugin for Magento allows it can be easily integrated with Magento online storefront to bring you access to Cardknox's advanced payment processing features, and then using the plugin allows you the ability to process a variety of payment methods directly from the Magento account, while enjoying competitive processing rates and advanced security features. But we'll definitely get into that later. So I know you want we can get into data breaches. Was there anything you wanted to share just as far as Wagento, as far as the Magento component?
Sure. Yeah. So Magento 2 has been out for a number of years now, almost 5 years, and we are well entrenched in that. But I think that there's a lot of people now that are moving over there because of the end of life, and a lot of these things are very pertinent to them right now. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how your solutions are going to help our customers in terms of when they want to move, or maybe they're already on Magento and they're not aware of some of these things, and how can they better protect themselves. And I think one of the things that we've learned in this whole PCI compliance, this whole thing that's come up around PCI compliance that started through the Magento end of life, is that the merchant really is responsible for their store. And no matter what platform you're on, if you're on BigCommerce, or if you're on Magento, or if you're on some custom platform, you are responsible for that PCI compliance. And at the end of the day, you are responsible for any data breaches that may happen. So I think having all the protection that you can have, and certainly looking at Cardknox and what they can help you do in terms of merchant and fighting fraud and things like that are really going to help out.
Agreed, and especially today in the COVID world. I'm not going to say post-COVID world. I don't think we're post-COVID yet, but definitely in the after with the advent of COVID, it's definitely been the need for an e-commerce solution has been much more prevalent, and obviously when that with that proliferation, that definitely opens things up to hackers, data breaches, even more than before. So I'm gonna just talk about just a basic overview, and you can see the slides here as well. But there's two components of an e-commerce fraud mitigation. And the first one is to secure customer data from the threat of data breaches. Okay, so you've got to make sure the data is secure. And the second is to use fraud screening and identity verification tools to prevent fraudsters from placing orders with stolen data. Okay, fraudsters are very prevalent today. They know this is the new hot place to be. And this webinar is going to focus really primarily on the former. Okay, how merchants can protect their customers' data and therefore stay PCI compliant. PCI is a council, but basically their goal is to ensure compliance with protecting customer data and to prevent against the data breaches that we're also nervous about. So to get started, I'll just give an overview of what data breaches are, how they occur. So what a data breach is when a fraudster obtains sensitive data. They break through a vulnerability in the organization's system or software. And the data is then used for fraudulent purposes, such as for identity theft or fraudulent transactions. I'm sure that we've all had some instances of fraud, of theft, of just some type of breach. And as an online merchant, sensitive payment data is being submitted through your website on a regular basis. So if you're making a purchase, you are going to be submitting sensitive data, your name, your address, and your credit card number, etc. Without the right tools in place, so your site could be at risk for a cyber attack that results in the leaking of sensitive data. And due to these inherent risks with payment processing, so the payment card industry requires merchants who handle card data, they have to adhere to the PCI's DSS, which stands for Data Security Standards. Okay, by staying compliant with these standards, not only will you avoid non-compliance fees, which can add up, but you'll greatly reduce the risk of a data breach. Okay. Any questions so far, or Brent, anything that you'd like to add?
No, I think that's fantastic. That's very helpful. I think, just thinking back on my years, I don't want to say I'm very old, but, I think even 15 years ago, looking back when people first started doing more and more of this online sales, that they can think that they may be compliant or they can think that they are protecting themselves. But I can even think about merchants that in order to just ease things along, they just put the credit card number of the client right in their customer record in their CRM, just so their staff can easily rerun credit cards if they needed to. So, I think that this should be all encompassing, and I think that some of the things that you're talking about now, and I think we're going to get into this presentation, are going to help our clients to be protected. And I think part of this too is just education around what that means as a client. And I know going into this next slide that you have around the rise of how fraud is really, it's only going to increase as more people are online and as people figure out more things, that they work with a trusted company like Cardknox to be protected and to help them both protect their data, but also maybe use best practices. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and Brent, just not to date myself either, but I remember, I still have an AOL account. That's really where my spam, that's where my spam goes. But I still remember the dial up and the excitement of you've got mail. It's like today, it's like, God almighty, will these people stop emailing me, right? But it's definitely, the world has evolved significantly since those days of AOL.